Adobe, imagine a Nigeria without forgeries, falsification of certificates, and all that.
How possible is that with the current realities?
We look forward to a day like that when there will be no forgery of certificates or document of any sort.
I'll say amen.
Hello and welcome to Public Conscience, the anti-corruption program produced by the Progressive Impact Organization for Community Development, PRIMOC. I am Chidozie Obonnaya and I'm with my colleague, Adaobi Obiabumu.
Thank you for joining us.
On Public Conscience, we seek to evolve a corruption-free society by drawing government and citizens' attention to corruption reports and issues for prompt democratic actions against them. We also promote integrity by amplifying rare cases of the display of honesty by public and private individuals. We appreciate the MacArthur Foundation for supporting the production of this program.
Stories of document or certificate forgery are frequently heard in this world. It has been around in Nigeria for a long time now. Still, it has become more trending issue since Nigeria returned to democratic rule, with both the political class and average citizens driving the certificate forgery in one way or the other. In today's program, we will be discussing an investigation exposing booming corruption in the issuance of a certificate of origin in some local government area offices in Nigeria.
A certificate of origin is an essential document in Nigeria required for job placement, admission into educational institutions, political appointments, and so on. The certificate is issued to only indigents of a particular state, and it validates that one is indigenous to a community in the area. It is a general means of identification as far as Nigeria is concerned.
The danger is that rising cases of certificate forgery are increasing in our society to the extent that we have different names and coining for acts. According to a recent investigation by the Cable Foundation, just for a fee, a foreigner can walk into our local government area offices and get certificates of origin without difficulties. Citizens can also get to some local government offices and get a certificate of origin without providing the necessary documents to officials, so long as they are willing and ready to pay an agreed amount.
The investigation cut across different local government areas in the country, including the council in the heart of Abuja. You will get more details from one of the journalists that carried out the investigation shortly. We invited the Abuja Municipal Area Council, AMAC, to join us on today's program, and hopefully they will. It is also important to note that possessing or presenting and even creating a certificate of any kind is a crime according to the Nigerian Constitution. The government on different occasions has been seen clamping down on culprits of forgery, but is the government's effort good enough so far? That's the big question. As a citizen, how worried are you about the worsening rate of fraud and irregularities in the issuance of certificates of origin in Nigeria? How can the government at all levels fight fraudulent acquisition of certificates in public offices? And what can citizens do to help tackle the menace of certificate forgery in Nigeria?
Be ready to join us through phone and text messages during this conversation. The WhatsApp phone line to send your message to is 0902 265 6167. That is 0902 265 6167. Please indicate your name and your location when sending your message. This number is for messages only.
Please begin to send your messages as soon as possible to 090 2265 6167. That is 090 2265 6167. We will give out the numbers to call shortly.
And if you just joined us, we are looking at a recent investigation published by the Cable Foundation indicting local government area offices in Ogun, Lagos, and Nasarawa states, as well as Abuja, of issuing certificates of origin to Nigerians and foreigners without due process and just for a bribe.
But joining us in the studio with more on the report is on the phone, actually, is an investigative journalist with the Cables Foundation, Samad Uthman. We also have in the studio Executive Director, Partners West Africa, Nigeria, in the person of Kemi Okenyodo. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's go ahead with Samad, who we have on the line, joining us now, talking about your investigation on falsification of certificate of origin at local government. Give us an overview of your report and why your organization deemed this investigation important.
Okay, again, my name is Samad Uthman, and I work with the cable newspaper as an investigative multimedia journalist. So sometimes in February, prior to the election, I and my colleague, who is based in the Lagos of India and Abuja, we having a discussion with a friend who brought up the issue of this forgery, certificate forgery, and we were like, okay. And I remember very well, I had similar experience sometime in 2014, 2015, and we put the head together and we did a sort of what we called preliminary investigation. That is to know if this case is true or it is exaggerated. And we were shocked. We resumed back to the desk to do more findings and desk research, and we realized that it's a very big issue across local governments in Nigeria, which is the forgery, which is trading of certificate of origin in the country. Thank you.
Okay, let's get to some of the states where you took your investigations to. Give us a sense of those states where you carried out the investigation.
Okay, so I handled Lagos, I handled Abuja and Nasarawa states, while my other colleague handled Lagos and states. Starting with Abuja, I visited Amak Area Council and I visited Buhari local government. And in Nasarawa state, I went to Kokona local government and Kefi local government. In Ogun, we visited Ifo and Shagamu local government. In Lagos, we went to Ikeja, Alimosho, Oshodi, Solo local government, and we realized that only Ikeja has something different when it comes to process. They followed the process in issuing of origin certificates in that only local government out of all these fields I just mentioned. In Kokona local government, for instance, it is just a business as usual. They have to request when you are when you are requesting for origin certificates in local government, they have to request for means of identity, either your passport, among many other things like NIN and the like. These are not requested from us. What they requested is our cooperation, and we should believe in what they are doing. And these people are backdoor guys.
Okay, just to paint the picture clearer, did you disguise yourself so that you let's understand that is your own personal experience? Tell us how it's all pan out.
Yes, for instance, in Kokona local government, I approached the person I met in one of the offices called Olga Alex, and he told me, and I told him that I'm from Togo. I'm a Togolese, not even a Nigerian, and he said, well, that's good, that he can work it out for me. And he collected just 10,000 naira and he delivered the certificate at my doorstep in Abuja.
Did he request for any means of identification?
He did not. He used a fake passport on the document he delivered to me because he forgot to request for my passport. He did not request for any other thing. He told me that they do this in liaison with the local chiefs, local pastors, and local imams, and they get seats full of. And to my surprise, the local government chairman, the secretary, and all other levels of authority, they signed a copy, the certificate, and dated it.
How much did you pay?
We paid a total of 10,000 naira in that local government. That's the Kuna local government.
10,000 for one certificate or for two?
For one certificate, for something that is just 1,000 naira. So we went along with what he requested for, and he delivered it at our doorstep here in Abuja. So that is for Kokona local government. And the guy did call later that I can as well request for birth certificates for me to fortify the certificates he offered. so that if anybody asks me, am I really from former local government, I can easily say yes. And we were still on that until we lost communication with him. So,
but Uthman, could you hold on there? You said that he told you that he could issue you a birth certificate, but local government area council or offices are not the ones that issue birth certificates. It is only the National Population Commission that has the authority to issue birth certificates.
But we should not forget that all these NPC and the like, they have their offices in local government. So people in the localities go to the local government. Maybe they have a small office or so where they allow people to come in and register. So this man is a staff. We verify him to be a staff of the local government. And he actually proved himself that he can pull off a state of origin, a state of birth, NIN and the likes. Even if you read the story, when I got to the local government, I saw him having a conversation with minors about their NIN, but I knew they were arguing with the pitch of their voice. So he's holding an NIN with him. And he told me that if I want to get an NIN in our local government, he can pull it for me. And, this is what they do through the back door.
So for a fee, everything is possible in that local government.
Exactly. If you meet these guys, your problem about this certificate are solved.
Because of how sensitive this topic is and how important the seat of power is, tell us what happened in AMAC, that is the Abuja Municipal Area Council.
Yeah, in AMAC, I came in contact. The moment I entered the entrance and I was walking without direction, I came, one man met me and I later realized him to be called Bash. He called himself Bashir. He gave me a big history of himself. He has been there for long and he's in the department of land. I mean, he said land, they help in getting land and they like find the land. What I know, what we are so obvious about them is that they are the type of person that loiters around all these buildings to get people to freeze of their money, to get them certificate to the back door. And, this guy was able to, after some days of meeting him, he was able to provide me a certificate of origin in that same local government. So, I think he collected, he requested for 20,000 naira, but I paid him 15,000 naira, yes. And when the original fee should be like 1,015 or thereabout, and he was able to get it out for me.
Did you request documents?
Yeah, he requested for my passport. And even though what he gave me at the end of the day, I had no passport with him. And when he started the process, this is what people need to understand about the guy. When they started the process of issuing the certificate for me, he told me I should not worry and the likes. And after like 2 days, he told me that they won't be able to offer the certificate because I'm not of Baggy descent. Which means for you to get a certificate of origin in this local government, you must be a Baggy. Baggy are the original landowners of Abuja. So I'm not, and he said that the only thing he can do, he offered me a way out of it, that he will give me a name. I gave him a pseudonym called Usman Aminu. He said no, that name sounds too Islamic. That will go with Elisha Johanna. That sounds more baggage kind of. And we use that name. He said when I get the certificate out, I will go on to the court to do change of name at the court. I said no problem. We are there to only check how these processes are being done. And we got it out. So if you are not having your money and you cannot get it back in, you won't pull through. Because the reason why I did this was that if this name is not a baggy name, I might be called to come and defend it.
Okay.
That is the normal procedure. You come out to defend it, whatever you said you are from. You defend the name, you give them the details of your compound and the likes, and they ask you to take the form they look at you. But the reason why these guys are doing these things is that they will fill all this gap and the stress for you. They're going to pay them peanuts. So I was able to get this particular document out and, free without stress. The reason why it was even more than a day or two in Abuja and Nasarawa was because it was close to the period of the election hearing process in Abuja. And these local government chairman and secretaries, they were busy with election campaigns and the like. So this same issue is what this same kind of fault is the same thing we realized in Ikeja and Ogun State. And like I said earlier, only Ikeja was different, where they asked for due process.
Okay, Uthman, I would have to come in there because of our time. Before you published your report, did you get across to the authorities at the local government council?
Okay, so we kept on with the report for more than a month because the new administration are in town and we were not able to pin this down on any official. I mean, after we did our independent investigation to realize that these certificates are original, not like these backdoor guys, not like I've seen the forged, they are original certificates, yes. But who to meet was the problem while we were ending up on this investigation? I mean, nobody was in the office. With the new administration, no new cases are there to answer questions for us.
Well, but there was no new administration at the local government level.
You said what?
There's no new administration at the local government level. I mean,
what I meant was that at the state level where we have the commissioner for, what was it called? For local government and state affairs, there is nobody there we could meet at that point, and the investigation was only too late. So we are waiting for them to fill up these spaces, and we go up to them and ask them questions. But for now, we want the public to see what is really going on at the local government level.
All right, it's good to know that you are going to go back to find out.
Okay, Uthman, in 1 minute, what do you think is the reason why such acts occurs at the local government area offices? What is propelling it?
So the thing is that in Nigeria we lack data, and if someone wants to talk now, they will say poverty, but at the same time we are not the only poor country in the world, right? So in this country, what we realized from this investigation was that we lack data. There is no way anybody can present him or herself at the local government level and they will get this thing out, because we lack a database where that name can be input into the system, and it will do a kind of query to a central database of everybody in this country and tell if this person is originally a Nigerian or not.
Okay, go ahead. Complete your thoughts.
Okay. If we are not able to cater, we are not able to have a central database of who exactly we have by identity in this country, this issue will continue, and people that want it very fast will go through this news.
Okay, Uthman, quickly in 15 seconds, you carried out this investigation in 4 or 5, 6 places. Where do you think that this act could be prevalent all around the country?
Presenter, let me shock you. When we finish this investigation, we have an in-house rule of how these processes are being done. When we're done with this, it follows through each layers of verification from our editors. And when they are doing their independent investigation in-house, we realize that this thing is prevalent in every part of the country, especially the north and the southeastern part of the country. After we were done, when this story was published, we received tons of evidence from the public. When we had a Twitter page on this, people came up to speak that we had resolved our time for the program on Twitter that day. In short, this is a wide, it's a kind of a broad issue. It's everywhere in Nigeria and even in the north. We got people talking so that we can come to the north and come and do this investigation in countries closer to the border. You see many Nigerians, many persons from Mali came into Nigeria because they have a certificate of origin with them.
Okay, Uthman, we have to thank you, but it's a very sad experience, and we encourage you to go on and get to the authorities so that we see how we can, go after these people who are subduing the process. Thank you so much for joining us, Uthman Samad. Sorry?
If I can add to it, I was thinking I'm going to meet the authorities here today. Maybe they will be here.
Okay. Unfortunately, we are still waiting for them, Uthman Samad. We must thank you, investigative journalist with Cables Foundation. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for the application of this program.
All right. If you just joined us, it is still Public Conscience, a production of the Progressive Impact Organization for Community Development, PRIMOG. And we just finished speaking to the journalist who carried out the investigation, Uthman Samad. Back in the studio, we still have our guests, Kemi Okenyodo. Thank you so much for staying with us.
Thank you for having me.
While the journalist was speaking, I saw you jotting a few things down, nodding and shaking your head at some point. How would you react to the report?
I think it's, I can't fault the findings of the report, because I think it's one of those things that is, it's an open secret. However, when you look at the report and you tilt it just towards foreigners having access to the certificate of origin, I think that's just a piecemeal of it. Working within the security and governance space, one will be aware of the fact that the certificate of origin is one of the requirements for anybody that wants to join either any of our law enforcement, security, law enforcement, military or intelligence agencies. We have scenarios where people, because of the quota system, get certificates of origin from other parts of the country to fill the quota of
the area they are staying.
Area. Not the area they're staying, the area that seemingly might be vacant.
Okay.
Right? And that would come with even change of name. And the process also of going through the courts for affidavits. Some people don't even bother going through the courts for affidavits. You might have someone that in Abuja, you bear Josephine this. Back home, the person bears another name. If there's an issue and you take the Abuja name to try and trace the individual, you can find the person. Right? So the element of the insecurity dynamics of it is beyond the foreigners getting access to it, but also within the country where you can have criminal-minded or dubious-minded people, because once you can falsify the certificate of origin for whatever justifiable reason, and you join an agency of government, you have that's somebody with a questionable character.
The foundation is not true.
Yes. And I ask myself, the people within the local government that are even doing the work, are they from that local government? Because of this type of issue, did they genuinely get that job, because they're from that local government, or they're one of such that another dynamics to it could be somebody that has been born there and you've lived there all your life. You do not know any other place, but you are not originally from that place. The system does not allow you to put that information forward and allow you access. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
To get the certificate of origin or indigenization, whatever we want to call it, on a genuine basis. You get what I'm trying to say?
I get it from the concerns, at least you understand that we have an issue here.
Yes.
We have a big problem. But let's look at the bigger picture of what is the dangers this widespread corruption in our local government settings portend for us as a nation.
Well, beyond, I say, whatever issues we're grappling with in the country, the rubber hits the road at the community-based level. And just yesterday, I was at a program and I was telling participants there that our challenge in the country, we're reforming federal, we're reforming subnational state. Nobody's paying attention to the local government, and that's where the rubber hits the road. That is where the people are. When you come to, if I use Ogun State, I'm from Ogun State as an example. if you are in Ogun State, you divide Ogun State into local governments, into communities, right? Who is overseeing those mini structures? Those mini structures are the structures that it deemed fit that they, at a point in time, that the political elites and the governors that at that subnational level want to collapse it and be the ones to control it. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
So, but until that reform that you're pushing for at
The federal level.
Federal.
subnational, come down to the local government authorities, and it starts with elections. How many states in the country have local government elections that they are elected officials, not caretaker committees, not people selected by the governor that will sit maybe 6 months, 3 months, then they are recycled. So when you are recycled, your mentality is to get there and
Work for the governor.
Work for before you work for the governor, you work for yourself. You work for the governor when it's close to elections, if you are there close to elections. But when you are there within the period before elections, you're working for yourself because it's seen as a settlement position. 2 is transparency. So when the colleague from Cable Foundation was saying that, it was only Ikeja that followed due process, I sat here, I was asking myself, what is the process for collecting, applying for certificates of indigenship? I don't know it. Do you know it?
Anyway,
do you understand
because I've gone that route before. I
have the certificates. I have my certificate of.
I had to go to my chief.
I didn't go to my chief.
Yes,
right?
I had to go to my chief.
I didn't go to my chief. I collected mine about the time I was getting into law school, and it was issued to me at the Ogun State Liaison Office in Lagos State. Right?
But they knew your family.
Somebody, did you go there directly or someone went on your behalf?
I went with my dad. Okay.
Absolutely. So
no, don't say absolutely.
But
that doesn't cut it.
Yes.
Okay.
It doesn't cut it, because I went with my dad means I come from a privileged background,
okay.
right? So my father's name is one of such names that if you mention in the state, you would know. But there are other people that do not come from a privileged background. There's an Ogun State Liaison Office here in Abuja. What is the process? Nobody knows.
So the sensitization is
yes.
not much.
So when you say, I went to my local government, I went to my chief. Who's your chief? My child doesn't have any business with the chief in my community. Neither does he have any business with the chief in his father's community. If he wants to get a local government, if he needs to get the certificate
of origin
of
Yes.
indigenship, it's his dad that probably would apply for it. He hasn't moved anywhere. For some of the people, they haven't moved anywhere. It's the parents that are applying for it. But even if you ask those parents, what is the process? They don't know it.
You just walk into the
You just
office.
walk into the place, and then somebody says, okay, don't worry, I'll get it for you.
So
when you say it's 1,000 naira, it's the today I'm finding out it's 1,000 naira.
They probably must have paid more than.
Yes. People will pay what they ask them to pay because it's attached to school, it's attached to job if you want your child to work within the public service.
a lot of gaps there, Adobe, if I must say. We have a lot of information gap and things we must correct in our system, because it will just flip over to the next generation if we don't even get the authorities to have a template known by everybody. Look at the process, just like you raised.
Yes, but during her submission, something got me worried where she said, we need this document, that's the certificate of origin or certificate of indigenship, to be enrolled into the security. So does it mean that anybody can forge it or pay his or her way, both Nigerians and foreigners, to get that document and then be enrolled into the security outfit? That means we are compromised.
Do they double check when these certificates come to them? Because I don't know how many organizations go out there to say, let's all even do verification.
Put a call through across to the local government.
So why are you calling in the local government?
Lots of questions
Yes.
there. Exactly.
Well,
Who are we going to call?
I think, if I may, I think we just like we like creating gaps where maybe there shouldn't be any gap, because one or two people are benefiting from it. So the country has gone into the process of the national ID card, right? When you look at your national ID card, there's a column for your state of origin, and there's a column for your local government. If things, when colleague at
Uthman Samad.
yes, when he said we don't have a central database, I'm like, no, we do have a central database, because NIN is national, and there is a NIN database, right? You see how systematically there are attempts to link. NIN has been linked to banks, your bank accounts. NIN has been linked to your international passport, right? There are NIN offices at the local government office, at the local government level.
So it's becoming
But how comprehensive is that list?
You won't. A list doesn't become comprehensive overnight.
So
it's
That's
a
why
process.
you find it's a process. That's why you find if it's just one letter that is missing in the you
have to go back.
You have to go all the way back and make sure it's aligned.
Okay.
So at the local government office, if it's not for a reason for laziness or intentional fraud, there's no reason why you cannot run that database just the way they are running it for passports, and you're running it for the banks, for it to align before you issue.
Okay, I will get back to you with more details on this discussion. Just to remind us that we invited the Abuja Municipal Area Council to also, they would have brought in a different angle to this and lectured us on what we should do and what we should not do.
Aside from lecturing us, we need those perpetrators to be brought to book.
Let's start with one step. But
right,
it's a good place to also bring in our listener to join us and weigh in on the conversation.
Please follow us on our social media platforms at Official Primorg, and remember that we are streaming live on Facebook at Official Primorg.
Remember that this program is interactive. The WhatsApp phone line to send your message is 09022656167. That is 09022656167. This number is for your messages only. Please begin to send your messages now to 09022656167. And we want you to comment and give us your take on the issue. What do you think is responsible for the worsening rate of fraud and irregularities in the issuance of certificates in Nigeria? How can government at all levels fight fraudulent acquisition of certificates in public offices? And what can citizens do to tackle the menace of certificate forgery in Nigeria? Citizens have a big role.
Definitely. If you're not there to give bribe, nobody will be there to receive.
Okay, let's get back to Kemi, because the journalist mentioned when we asked him about what could be behind, what is propelling this corruption at the local government level. He said he doesn't want to point at poverty. I mean, I agree with him. But what is your take? What could be behind this boom in the let's not call it falsification now, in the fraudulent issuance of a certificate of origin at local government level?
I think it's lack of transparency, and it's an issue of transparency and accountability. Like I said, when something is opaque and it's not open, there's the tendency to manipulate it. If you get into a local government office, we heard him, he didn't even know where to go to, number one. Number two, you now then make inquiries, and then you meet somebody on the corridor and you make inquiries, and of course that person's boom day has come, right? The whole structure around our local government architecture is skewed. And I'll give an example. In recent times, I say to my driver, when we're driving and I see these people that look like hoodlums, as far as I'm concerned, on the road. And I ask him, who is this one? Because you're looking at the way the person is looking at you menacingly in the car. And then he says, oh, they're from AMAC. AMAC doing what? What are they looking for on the road? So and the way they even appear, they don't appear like people that are responsible.
Okay.
One. Two is you now ask yourself, what kind of people, how do they recruit at the local government level? What is what is the function of the local government offices?
Please hold that thought. I will get back to you. Let's see who is here. Hello? Your name and where you're calling from?
My name is Mr. Andy. I'm calling from Abuja, Western area of the country.
Okay, Mr. Andy, let's hear you. Do you have an experience?
No, I don't have an experience like that, but I've been hearing from people, even before the man, the journalist, the president, commented. That is normally happening in this area. Like in my side, especially in Abia State, you cannot just walk into the local government and tell them that you need a certificate of origin or this, they'll give you. But they will now verify where are you from? Because Ohofia have the community, the 26 villages that make in Ohofia, local Ohofia. So everybody in the way, if you like, being in 50 years, 200 years in Ohofia, we know you personally as you are not from this community. One. Then that's how it's supposed to be other parts. That's why in that our side, no matter how you give, they will point to this and say it's not from this our village. It's a visitor. So if those kind of things we apply to every place, every local government in the country, it will help Nigeria. That's why if you commit atrocity in Abia State, it will be easier to get you.
Doesn't mean atrocities are not being committed, but go ahead.
No, you can, whatever, like this NIS, the lady in the studio was saying, you say you have that. We don't have that at my brother in like national. If you know what I told you that you write to me in the state of origin, if I tell you I'm from Ogun State, you write Ogun State for me. After the day, we have the database in some part of the country.
Okay.
That's my take.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for joining us. And I think you made your point. Please go on, madam.
I've lost my train of thought. But let me pick up from where he said.
Sorry.
Yes, that we don't have data. If you tell me where you're going to, where information is being keyed into a system, and you go there and you tell me you're from Ogun State, and you're not originally from Ogun State, that becomes your data, because that becomes the means of verification. It becomes the baseline, right? So when we keep saying we don't have data, I struggle with it. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? It becomes your baseline, because that's what you've keyed into the system. If you now come with a certificate of origin that says you're from Kebbi State, and that's put into the system, you need to tell me how come you have Ogun State here and this one is telling me Kebbi.
I mean, the person also risks perjury because the person just lied under oath.
So when you start seeing that it's not matching, that's where we start checking impunity, because it's a crime and you would need to be prosecuted.
All right, let's see who else is there. Hello, your name and where you're calling from?
I'm calling from Karo.
All right, let's hear you. What's your take? Do you have an experience?
No, I don't have the experience. But to solve this problem, maybe we have 70 or 80% of this issue is to go back and give a traditional ruler a mandate in the constitution. They should control a local government. What I mean by control, the traditional ruler should give the power to collect taxes within the local government and hand over to the secretariat. But the issue of indigeneity, they should collect it from the local government and hand over to the traditional rulers. Before you have the indigenous, you must come to the traditional palace and identify yourself before they issue you. But doing that, I think it's going to reduce it. It's not going to wear away the corruption, but it's going to reduce it. Thank you.
Thank you for your take. But honestly, let's since we are getting in the mood of suggestion and how do we get over what is happening, let's start. You said we should beam the searchlight on addressing corruption at the local government level. That's the first step. What other things can we do?
We need to rearrange the local government system. So when I hear, oh, we should give the mandate to the traditional ruler, does that mean that if I live in Kebbi, I'm not from Kebbi State, and I need a certificate of indigenship for whatever reason from my state, I have to travel all the way to my village to go and meet my traditional ruler?
Obviously, that is what it
From his
means.
suggestion.
From his
No,
suggestion.
it's not going to work because we've moved beyond that. And you find, I keep saying, if you look at where there's systemic corruption, it's because the system is cumbersome, the system lacks transparency, the system is opaque. So when you say put it in the hands of the traditionals, it's going to become more expensive and it's going to become more dubious.
Is
Quotes and unquote.
is digitization of certificate of origin in Nigeria long overdue?
When you say digitization, I wonder why we need to digitize. I'm just asking, when you have one database, from that one database, you should be able to get every other information you need.
I think what he's trying to say is, in a situation where you can easily key in your information on a particular portal, you do not have to walk into that office, because when you reduce the interface between
human
yes,
beings.
That's
it
why
reduces corruption.
We're saying the same thing. So if we use NIN, and I'm still going to go back to NIN, right? You have that information that local government certificate is supposed to carry on your NIN, right? So from that NIN, you should be able to generate it. So if you have the NIN and you say you need certificate of this, from the local government office, if you apply there, they go on the platform from the NIN, pull it. They just see you. They see your passport photo is there. The local government you're from is there. The state of origin is there. They pull that out and they print.
Okay.
You're not the one giving, you're not negotiating anything. If you are going to pay, then there should be a means of paying that it's not cash induced. Once you pay, and let me round up by saying, if you remember, in this same country at a point in time, our driver's license process was very opaque.
But now we have gotten better.
Yes.
Let's see who else is here. Your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, it's calling back the back.
And you have 1 minute.
Okay. Please, if we can do it, because you say that if you live in a fast place and you want to go to another place to play, you want to support the people. That the other man said, let Nigerians go back, let the community have their numbers of representatives in the liaison office, so that when you come there, they'll just put call to the person, then you verify, you can send to them the place, maybe the compound you come from, the name of your forefather and your father and your everything. It will be easier. There is no how I can have two men in Nigeria. And I have two. NIN, we have two. Just have two.
Okay. All right. Thank you for calling back to give that suggestion.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, I don't.
You don't quite agree with his submission.
I think for us as a country, we move forward, we move back, because we want a system that is easy for us, right? And I think one of the challenges we have also in countries that we do not understand the importance and the seriousness that comes with changing data that is linked to your identity, because it's identity fraud.
Yes.
Sure.
It's identity fraud. But if you, part of also the challenge I think with the criminal justice system is when you pick one person, because people do not understand the gravity.
So we are not setting enough examples. We are not, making certain consequence for actions. If
if it's your sister, let me bring it close to home, that needed this thing, and she's one out of zillion and has gone the same path that has been found and has gotten the job, and then we start a clearing system, and then we start picking people up and prosecuting for identity fraud. Do you understand? We're the same set of people that would cry blue murder, because all of us seated here, no one person or the other that has been involved in this. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
So the awareness needs to go out, so that people know and appreciate that when I say my name is Kemi, Kemi, and I go into another database and I spell my Kemi, Kemi, it's identity fraud. And what is the consequence? How many years does it take? Would it get you? What is the impact of that? It's a criminal offense. It can affect you for the rest of your life.
I mean, Nigerian constitution says at least 3 years. Someone will go in for forgery.
How many people are
the thing
aware
is that
how many people are aware of this? People are not aware
of this. And if we can even have the boldness to say, let's all look at our certificates, those are working for the government and private sectors, there will be tsunami in the land.
A whole lot of people will go in for it.
Let's have you give citizens, advice, because we are part of the problem, and we must have to be part of the solution. What must citizens do to take us from where we are in terms of falsification of certificates
And
to
corruption.
a better place and corruption?
Well, the ideal response would be try and find out what the process should be. What is the authentic process of getting this thing? However, that's the duty on the part of government, is to make obvious and put into the public space, this is the process for getting these certificates. This is how much it would cost you. This is how long it should take.
Information.
It
should be out there.
It should be out there, and it not only in English, in the dialects that the people will understand, and in a form that is easy and accessible to them, so that when the information is there, if you now do not avail yourself of that information, you now have a responsibility to get that information and then follow through. When you follow through and something is wrong, where can you report?
One word of advice for the government as we wrap up.
I've told them they should make things transparent. They should make the process for not only the indigenship of getting services at the local government level open and transparent.
Adobe, let me put you on the spot. What about our value system? I mean, moral decadence that is rocking us.
Someone else will say the family. What is the place of the family in upholding the value system? But again, Doze, it said that ignorance is not an excuse, right?
Absolutely. We have to go. It's been a robust one, but he will be drawing the curtains on the program here.
Please visit our news website, primorgnews.org. That is primorgnews.org for all the details of our reports and interviews. Visit our website, primorg.org, to get all the information about Primorg.
And you can watch our videos on Primorg TV, our YouTube channel. Please subscribe to get reminders when we have a new post. We appreciate our guest, who is the Executive Director at Partners West Africa, Nigeria, Kemi Okenyodo, and also Samad Uthman, an investigative journalist with the Cables Foundation. We didn't have a representative from Abuja Municipal Area Council join us, as we said earlier. But many thanks for also joining the program today, wherever you have listened. Public Conscience has the support of the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation, committed to building a more just, verdant, and peaceful world. Get more information about the foundation on its website, macfound.org.
Join us again here next week for another episode of Public Conscience, and remember to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Official Primorg. I am Adaobi Obiabomo.
And remember that birth registration and birth certificate are free if your child is under 18. Help stop the corruption in birth registration and do not pay for birth certificates. Also, remember that you can give us hints or information about corrupt acts through our phone at 090-2265-6167 or info@primorg.org. I am Chidozie Obonnaya. Stay safe.